chance to spend some time.
Michael?
Next time you go.
You go by Michael or Mike?
Mike is fine.
Mike.
Nothing on the insurance. You're even.
I wanna quickly just introduce Mike and just let everybody know, a copy of his resume was forwarded to everybody for review. I'll just do a quick introduction and then let you just do a Q&A, and I'll just sit back and be quiet. When Blair emailed me and told me what had happened with the vote at the last meeting, I immediately went
I'm so sorry.
Good night.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Okay.
to
Cindy, could you
the
put
suggestion that I wanted to make was to have a new point of contact for the management for Omega Villas, and to still have all the information that I've had over the years and various, emails and whatnot, to be able to be a part of finishing through this construction. The thought that I had was having another manager come in to handle the day-to-day, be the main point of contact, would be the proper way to go through this and allow me to be able to be in the back to support that person, whoever it is. It really didn't take me long to think of who I wanted. Mike Graffiti has been part of our team for closing on almost a year now. Mike came from United Property Management, which about a year ago was acquired by a very large company called Real Manage. There are a number of larger management companies that go around acquiring a lot of smaller and medium-sized companies like mine. And this company, Real Manage, has come in and kind of made it a point where their onboarding of the new properties and these new property management companies has been very poor. It's created a bad morale, and as a result, Mike and I ran into one another about a year and a half ago. And coincidentally, Sean, it was at a fine reduction hearing. So I have an association that we've managed for a number of years that was located right next to one that Mike managed. And they were both in Tamarack, and we happened to have met beforehand, and then we met afterwards because the result was exactly the same for both of us. It was exactly like Omega Villas. And it's important to tell this story, and Mike can expound on it, because it's exactly what we've got in front of us. These were people that, I know for ours, it was over a year and a half of accumulating fines. And we finally got the loan, and finally got the opportunity to get things done, just like Omega Villas, and it was a funding thing. Mike's was the next community over. They had exactly the same problem. So at the same fine reduction hearing, because we had diligently gone about our work, we ended up having about $100,000 worth of fines reduced down in our association. Was like $250 per building plus court costs. What did yours wind up being?
Yeah, ours, our fine was, I think, $221,000, and it was reduced down to $12,000. So
Okay.
it was a big win for the community.
So, what is the name of this association you're running as?
The Spyglass.
It was called Spyglass, and it was located over in Tamarack.
And what was the one you were
So-
talking about, Metro K? What was the name of the association?
Wedgwood.
Which is right next
Okay.
to their-
Both of those
Jason
got reduced down to, we actually ended up having less than $10,000. We were a little bit less time than Mike's. That's where I first met Mike. So Mike has gone through that process, and I felt that would be really good for Omega Villas because he's familiar with the 40-year certification. He's familiar with going through the problems that we've run through and the construction, and at the end of the rainbow, the fine reduction hearing. So Mike has been with me now for close to a year, and he's on 3 properties that I have. And Mike has capacity and was the first person that I thought of because of A, I think Mike has a very, very good temperament. I think Mike is a really good listener. I think that he's really learned our way of doing things. We have partnered with Pay HOA. I use Pay HOA and a number of other associations. So that gives us the ability to be able to have him ramped up quickly and understand that we're using Pay HOA here. So it's a natural situation. But what I like about Mike is that he's had years of experience in management. His board of directors that he's with right now absolutely love him. And I think that he would be a really, really good asset to Omega Villas. Because despite everything, I still have a very vested interest in Omega Villas to make sure that we do the right thing here. When I purchased Sunrise Management with my father-in-law, Omega Villas was part of our portfolio that we purchased from Greg Reardon. So I've been here for 8 years now and been on the day-to-day. It's very, very important to me to make sure that we see this thing to fruition. So I'd like to have Mike get a chance to tell you a little bit about himself. I think you'll find his resume makes him very, very qualified. But the one thing that I like most about Mike is his ability to be able to respond to emails quickly, respond to board requests, and help owners, and have a really nice temperament when he's dealing with the owners. So Mike, I'm going to sit down, I'm just going to let the group take over, and I'm going to be quiet. Feel free to get comfortable.
Have a seat, sir.
Start out with questions or
Why don't you give us an overview?
An overview of
profession?
myself.
Take us through your resume. So you can just start, I know you've been with Sunrise, so take us from United all the way back.
All right, so I started with United approximately, I think it was about a little over 3.5 or 4 years ago. I'll go back. For 17 years, I was a district manager for retail management company. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Hasbro Toys, Mr. Potato Head, things like that. So I traveled around the country, went into Walmart's, Target's, Toys R Us, working on that. After 17 years, our group, many of it got laid off. I decided I had a lot of friends that were in property management. They encouraged me to get my license and go into that. So that's what I did. I started working for a company previously called Consolidated Community Management. Then I moved over after a few years to United Community Management, who got bought out by Real Manage. And as Jay had told you, I met him there when I was with United. And we talked probably for about 6 months back and forth, and I decided to make a move over to Sunrise Management. I'm very, very happy with it. Smaller company. We're able to focus a lot more on our properties with our boards. At United Community / Real Manage, I had 13 portfolio properties that I managed, and it was a challenge, but I did get through that. Wasn't able to give 100% to each as should be, and it's a much better position that I'm in now, only having 3 properties. With that, very excited to come in. I know you have a big project going on. I've dealt with a lot of similar communities, and from what I heard tonight, it's very similar on the people that live here and their backgrounds. It looks like we have a lot of blue collar workers, and everyone in any community is worried about their assessments and how they're going to pay for them and things like that. And it is very tricky as board members, especially being, volunteers, to try to work through it and answer their questions. And hearing some of their questions, they were concerned about tonight. I think I can help and work with the board and with your community to work through those. You always are going to have people, especially the ones that do show up at the meetings, that have, negativities about different projects and how they're going, this and that. And my job as a property manager is to work with the board, to work with vendors to move the projects ahead and to get them completed for the better of the community. And that's what I'm going to do with you guys.
So on the communities that you have now, so you have 2 or 3 you have 3 right now that you're overseeing, right? What kind of communities are they?
Condos, one is a condo,
Is it like a high-rise condo? Is it like
4 stories,
4 stories? Okay. How many units there?
226.
26. Okay. And how about the second community?
And by the way, the first one is a 55 and older. The second one is also a 55 and older, and it is a condo. And there is I think there's 62 units in that.
Is that single story?
No, it's, in fact, I think, that one's 4-story also.
4-story.
Yeah, yeah. 2 buildings, 4 stories.
And how about your third?
That's an HOA, and 7 houses,
I'm sorry, that was what?
7 houses.
just 7 houses.
Is it like a
It's called-
luxury community?
Yeah,
It's a custom built,
yeah.
like
It's called,
$10 million
yeah,
per home.
So you just maintain, like, you oversee their common areas? right?
correct. They have a small park within the community. They have a tennis court, and then they have,
Wow, for 7, they have a lot.
yeah,
It's a really amazing
Yeah,
community.
yeah.
There's a
Well,
lot
they're really
of,
not.
there's a lot of retired, movers and shakers in there.
Yeah.
The community is only 5 minutes down the street from us here, and Mike is contractually obligated to be there 3 times a week, which made it a pretty easy fit to say, he's 5 minutes down the street, 3 or 4 times every single week, which was why I felt he's got capacity. This was really the thing that kind of tied in everything, plus he comes to the office, which is only 5 minutes down the street.
right on.
So it's right in his location of where his main portfolio is. Everything he's got is within 10 minutes of here.
What is your understanding of what our concerns or frustrations are here?
I know that you're going through a big construction project, redoing roofs, the outsides. Sounds like you got, the group that was here tonight, big problem with windows and replacement of those windows, whether they wanted to do that or not. So I think that obviously, because of the assessments that are coming on or going to be starting up, is probably the biggest concern of the community, I would imagine, because that's
Yeah, let me, and I'm gonna be blunt on
Okay.
that, because I think this is very important, you understand this from the very beginning. This community is extremely frustrated,
yes.
okay, many levels. Let me just preface that by giving you a little bit of history, okay? This community, most of us here on the board have been here almost 20 years, some 15 years, some 10 years or so forth. So we've been here for a while.
That's very typical.
We've had our turnover in management companies for many reasons, okay? I can tell you, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna speak for others, I'm gonna tell you what frustrates the hell out of me. And I'm gonna be blunt honest, okay? What frustrates the hell out of me is the lack of response, the lack of follow-up. That being on the board feels like a full-time job, it shouldn't, okay? That, you know, there's a saying, you say trust but validate, so when something is brought up to property manager's attention, that it's taken for what it is, and it's validated, and it's looked into, and then get back to the board, okay? I've spent many, many times, and there I can go through countless emails, back and forth, back and forth. And Jay's in front of me. Jay, like I say, on a personal level, Jay's a very nice gentleman. on a business level, I'm frustrated.
Me too.
Okay, frustrated. Okay, why? Because this community needs attention. I understand as an entrepreneur, he's growing his company. When he first started here, it was much smaller, you know. But what's happening with Sunrise happens to every small company when they grow. All of a sudden, they're taking on. And the smaller communities, like in any management organization, tend to get the short end of the stick. And that's what I feel like we've done, okay? When I have to, or I have unit owners, and I let unit owners that want my email, they have it. They want my phone number, they have it. Emails, texts. You know, biggest thing is trash. Why is trash sitting for a long period of time? There's no reason for that. The maintenance person should be going around, picking up anything that's, you know, the groundskeeping is huge here. You know, groundskeeping. There's places that I walked not too long ago that I'm like, what in the world is a maintenance person storing something like this here? A common area. There's a proper storage, we have a shed in the back, there needs to be things like that. Not responding to resident emails is unacceptable. I think there needs to be an establishment, whether it be 48 hours, 72 hours, but the unit owner needs to know that someone's gonna get back to them, okay? That's number 2. Number 3, that when I don't want anybody in this board to feel like this is a full-time job, and it does feel like a full-time job. It does. Okay? And I don't want to. I don't want it to feel like a full-time, because that's why we've got to pay a management company. I don't want the burden of other people's issues on my plate. I have my plate is full. I'm here to help, but I'm not here to do a property manager's job. Nor am I here to hear from other unit owners that are maintenance persons across the street. Why is our maintenance person across the street? Okay? Why isn't basic things like something so simple? It's the little things like that really get me. Why will the damn posting on a thing for a past board meeting still be there? The maintenance person should, when they do their morning drive and pick up palm fronds, pick up, associated trash with an address that somebody left it, this is a constant thing. Constant. The maintenance person needs to be managed. And it's not happening that way. For whatever reason.
It's raining.
For whatever reason, they're not being managed properly. Okay? And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to come home, to send an email, to come home, and there's still the same trash there from 3 days ago. Doesn't the maintenance person see that way? You know, these are things that I'm telling you blunt honest, piss me off.
I'm very glad that you're telling me.
Yeah, because
And I'm very
it's
surprised,
unacceptable.
and I'm very happy that that's one of your biggest problems, because that's something that's very simple
Right.
for me to take care of.
Second is that when a resident puts something in Page HOA, is that what it's called, or website? Page HOA. When something is there, okay, now the Eric who you didn't meet tonight, he is our web person, because he's an IT guy, right, for the county school system. When a unit owner, when a request gets put in, the board members should get, or certain board members get, I think the officers get a notification, hey, so that's like, ding, uh-oh, a unit owner request. So we wait.
Is that a work order? or
It's
is
a work
that-
order.
Okay.
A work order comes in. We wait, we wait, we wait. And then what happens next? Patty, nobody's doing it. Send me a text or send me an email. Patty will knock on my door. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want a manager that's gonna be responsive, respectful, and someone that takes feedback and tries to better it, because there's no perfect management company. There's no perfect management company, there's no perfect property manager. Whoever says there is, they're lying, okay? They've been in and around the block a few times already, all right? But I don't like for our unit owners to be ignored. I don't like them to be disrespected, or I don't like things that are not followed up properly. And I think if you took a poll, a lot of people felt the same way. I think we got the short end of the stick over the years. Didn't start off that way. I'll give them credit. Didn't start off that way. It progressed over time as Sunrise Management grew. I visited your website the other day. I'm impressed on how much you've grown your company. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a really nice website. You get, and I got a nice staff, you know? But guess who? Guess who got the short end of the stick? Make a vote. Typical as a portfolio, we're not the money making. That's in any management company I've seen it. The little fish in a big ocean. I've seen it. I mean, I'm talking frankly. You know? So that's what me personally pisses me off. Okay? And I vocalize it. Nothing I've said here, I've not said to him. Nothing here I've not said to anybody in this board. Pisses me off. We're all hard-working people, and we deserve our property to be respected.
Absolutely.
And when you walk around and see some of the shit here, that a maintenance person, all he had to do was bend down and pick up, unacceptable. Unacceptable, right? So a decision was made, and I respect it. Jake submitted his resignation on behalf of Sunrise, and I thank you for working with us, because we couldn't make a decision on the board and give us an extension of 3 months, but I don't, you know,
Yeah. If you
Unless
can't
there's
trust
a
the
miracle.
president- If you can't trust the president of a corporation, then.
unless there's a miracle performed, I don't know what's gonna happen. But this is a win-win for both, because you're giving us some time, because the 5 that we looked, nobody liked them, and it's the majority of the board that votes. So we gotta keep looking. But that's me, and I want every board member to have an opportunity to say something, because you have to hear it from each board member.
Can I start?
Sure.
My issue started with Jay, because I was dealing with you, and, well, Greg before that. And I did the roof lease since 2007, 8, something like that. Yeah, but then we had a company come in, do the repairs, still dealing with management, still dealing with issues, never fully stopped my leak. And I was given all this misinformation along the way. So I involved attorneys, and I stopped dealing, because what you said, tell me, Jay, I mean, I have emails going, I got hundreds of emails to you. And most of it, I mean, you lied to me on a lot of occasions. You told us in our building, in my neighbor and everybody else, our roof's getting replaced this year, or it's gonna get replaced this year, or it's gonna get replaced this year. No, we never did. So when you don't have accountability, you don't have respect, nobody's gonna trust you.
Trust.
Yeah. And that's what, one of the things I would like to see embedded into this community is more accountability, more trust. And that's what's been lacking. And, you know, I study businesses.
Starts
I work
with you,
with-
Sean.
Well, with what?
Huh?
That I brought all the records. If you find records that are incorrect, let's talk about them, validate them. I have records.
Well, do you have any questions for him?
No, I'm telling him my concerns.
Let him
We're
speak.
expressing our concerns.
Let him speak. speak, like
Yeah.
I spoke, let everybody get it out on their chest.
Yeah, and so, you know, you have that history, and we don't trust your company. I mean, we don't trust Sunrise Management. At least I don't. I can't speak
Speak
for
for
everybody
yourself,
else.
I'm
But-
saying we, not everybody feels that
But
way.
there's a large part of this community that does not, and I've talked to a lot of people in this community. So,
Okay.
you
Anything
should go
else?
on something, you see.
Anything else, Sean?
That's it?
I'm next, right? Okay. Good evening. I have a few questions here. I look at your resume, I only see you only have 3 years of property management.
It's about, actually a little bit more than that, it's coming up to
Based on the
4. Yeah,
resume, started in February 2021.
correct.
And I saw that on United Community, that was only 7 months. What happened there?
What happened there? I,
You were only 7 months.
yeah, no, it got bought out by a company called Real Manage when I had started with them. And I didn't like how that company was running it, and I met Jay, and that's, I decided to move over.
Okay, I see you talk about here timely response. What does that mean for you?
For me, getting back to everyone in a timely manner.
What's the time,
What's an acceptable amount? For a board member the same day, for someone in the community, a resident, to reply to an email within 24 hours.
And what about if there's an emergency?
Say that again?
If there's an emergency, like.
Obviously,
you have
an
a-
emergency is immediate, it's something immediate, you know, you don't give time, I can't say, I'm gonna respond to an emergency within 12 hours, emergency is gonna be responded to immediately. Well, you know, immediately as can be. And if I can't, for some reason, I would contact one of my colleagues to make sure that it is responded to immediately.
So
That's the job of the property.
So do I understand that if you were notified of emergency, let's say now, you immediately respond?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, depends
Okay.
on what you consider. I mean, an emergency is something burning down, something happening. Emergency is not, water starting to drip, you know.
Two ceilings collapsed
Ceiling collapsing,
Ceilings
that's
collapsed,
something, yeah.
and-
yeah.
and place was flooded. That's an emergency as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, so my understanding is that you would respond to emergency as soon as you receive it. That's what I wanna hear. If it's only, I'll be there, I call Joe Blow Plumbing, I'll be there in an hour or so. That's the response I want.
That type of emergency.
Yeah, that type of emergency, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
next, you mentioned oversight of property. How often
Over
will
what?
you?
I'm sorry?
Oversight of the property.
Okay.
How often will you be coming to our community?
I'll be here, at least 3 times a week. I'll be driving by through the community at least 3 times per week.
Driving by means and all the phases.
Correct.
Okay.
Driving through, meeting with your full-time maintenance person, ensuring that he is following up on my direction,
Okay.
and obviously be contacting him continuously to ensure that problems are getting taken care of and there are no issues like signs being left up from a board meeting or garbage being left, as you're saying, all those things.
It's the little things.
Yeah, exactly.
That
No,
just
that's
blow
why,
my mind.
you know, I would definitely have.
I've also insisted that Mike be involved in the construction and meeting with the contractors every week because that they need to have a touch point with property management, although there's the project manager. I did bring in Mike specifically because of his experience with construction. I want him to be, you know, very involved in terms of meeting these guys and, you know, being a part of that.
Okay, I'm sorry. How will you handle another community since you only been working with 3?
How would I handle another community?
Yeah, us, how will you handle us if you've been working with only 3? It's more workload, how will you handle it?
Workload? I have extra time now. That's one of the big things, and that's why Jay had asked me to take this on, so I have the extra time in my schedule to spend with the community. So the way I'd handle it, obviously, is coming in, again, meeting with your maintenance guys, scheduling things, having a set schedule to be here and, to work on the property and with the property owners here.
Are you saying that your other properties are managed in a way that you could fit us in? Because we need a lot of help, is what I think she's
Yeah.
trying to get. How are we
Yeah.
gonna be able to fit our
Yeah.
work in?
I can't promise you that I'd be available here for 40 hours because unfortunately, that's not.
No, it wouldn't,
Yeah, it's
what-
not
what-
expected.
Yeah, it's what we're doing, obviously, but, as you need more time, I would adjust it to this property to help, this property, going through the phase that you are going through with the construction and everything else.
Is there like a time frame, like, I'm sorry, piggybacking on your question.
Sure.
Is there a time frame of like how many hours per week? You said drive through 3 times a week, but like how many
Yeah.
hours on the ground would you be here per week?
Well, I can't say exactly how many hours per week, how many hours would I be spending answering calls, doing emails. The bulk of my time is going to be obviously responding to calls, to people on here, but coming here to find the problems, identify them, and ensure that they're getting followed up on and fixed.
Would you walk the property?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, because you said riding by.
Yeah, no,
You said riding by.
that's part of it. I'm sorry, that's part of
You
a
say
drive.
riding
No, that's part of a drive-by, and that's the same thing that I do.
Okay.
I only have 7
Just
units
got-
there, but it's a big walk.
Okay.
I park down, all the way down at the bottom of the street, and I walk behind the things along the
Good.
canal.
Okay.
And then I come up through the thing, because they have issues with their
Understand.
canal and what's going on with it, and people, they're not.
They had been targeted with
Yeah.
some major theft recently,
Yeah.
and Mike's been dealing with some really dangerous situations. We had helicopters out over there capturing people that came in and were targeting them because of the size of their homes and who's there. Mike has a 30-hour schedule right now, and I have 10 full hours for Mike to be able to use. He can come in here every single day. He can come here and spend 3 hours in one day. So I'll let you know, I have 10 hours of Mike's time that I'll designate and make sure that he's physically here on the property and able to give that. Those were the amount of hours that I was always trying to strive for coming into the property. So, I would always come in every single morning. So Mike is basically going to be tasked with taking a full 10-hour schedule and trying to break it up accordingly in terms of 5 hours on site, meeting with people, 5 hours of, dealing with issues or whatever. That's why he's here. I have capacity for Mike.
But you say he has 10 hours, when is he gonna answer the emails and phone calls? It's not 10 hours here.
It's
10 hours designated for either physically being here, answering emails back at the office, sending out violation letters, posting notices and coming, Mike can go down to the office. We have a workstation for him there. He can set up your agenda, come out here, post notices, walk the property, meet with the maintenance person. My office is only 5 minutes down the street, so the opportunity for him to spend a lot more time here is there. That's why I made sure that he was the one that I wanted you to meet with first, because I really feel that 10 hours of Mike's time is gonna be incredibly efficient.
I
He's a
don't
really
feel
efficient
10 hours is
manager.
enough. That's how you feel. I don't feel
But you're-
10 hours is enough.
You're
But
not understanding,
my
this
next
isn't a
question-
full-time position.
I
We're a
understand.
portfolio,
I
I charge you
understand.
$1,500 a month. $1,500 a month. Mike was at another management company, getting 13 properties. I don't do that. So, I mean, you get my time minimum, I do 4 visits a week here.
I haven't seen you.
Okay, ask your fellow
But
board
anyway,
members
can
who
we
are out walking
continue
their
here,
dog.
please? The
I see,
question is
I
mine.
see Maritza every single morning walking her dog. Okay, I come over and I pick up checks off of Patty's door, then I go and I sit down and I meet with them. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what I do, but I'm telling you that 10 hours with a manager on a portfolio property who's had experience dealing with 13 properties at one time, I see this guy in action, you're gonna get a lot of time.
Okay, my next question. When you do your drive-through, and like Patty mentioned, you see a garbage bag, what will you do?
A garbage bag?
Yeah, where it's not supposed to be.
One of those blue bags.
No, any
White
garbage
bags.
bag.
Oh,
Black bags.
What will you
Oh,
do?
Make sure it's not plantation
Yeah.
bags.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, any garbage bags.
So, as I do my drive-bys in any communities, I take notes. With those, I'm meeting with the maintenance, and here it sounds like you have a full-time maintenance person. I haven't met him or her yet. I'll be meeting with them definitely weekly, and we'll have a checklist. We'll be making sure that they're getting that done. I come back here and I start to see a bag here, a bag there. Guess what? They're gonna get a call immediately, and we're gonna get that corrected.
So the bag stays there until the,
I'm not saying that it's gonna stay there. If I see a bag or something like that that I can grab, I do that. If I see, as I'm walking around, if I see tin cans or something, I don't just leave them there. You know, I grab the tin can and throw it away. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, no.
No, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be expected to put
Yeah,
garbage in.
yeah.
No,
Yeah, I don't know,
I
yeah.
think the point that Miriam is saying is that somebody's notified and it's
It's
taken
getting taken
care
care
of.
of.
That's
they
not
go
what's
there
happening.
ASAP, because a
They're
bag
in.
overnight, I mean, especially when we have.
Except
like
like
three-
Yeah.
You have a classic case here.
Cats.
This isn't excuse, this is just fact, okay? You have a classic case of people who, A, put out all of their stuff a week early before bulk trash, and then lets it sit there, okay? I got some with his name on
Oh,
it,
really?
okay? Yes, I do.
Show it to me.
Okay, I have people that come, we know that the garbage guys come twice a week. Garbage cups come through. When do the bags get left out? 1 hour after they drive through and take all the trash. And then somebody turns around and gets a black bag or a clear bag and throws it out on the curb and runs back inside. And then it sits there. And then, yeah, I get
There's
an
a
email
way to
saying we
handle
need to,
those
we
violations.
search through, we
That's not
search
being
through
done.
those bags to
So
find
your
out if
violations
there's
being
somebody
done
there.
drive-through, and that's what
If
always
it's a
happens.
renter, if we know it's a renter, a letter needs to go to the unit owner.
I mean, I understand, if I put a bag out and the garbage can, the garbage room, I mean, they didn't pick it up, because it has happened that they don't pick it up when they're supposed to.
Mhm.
Me, as an owner, I would take that bag back to my garbage can until it's the next day. I understand
Yeah.
that. But-
Unfortunately, your neighbors don't.
It's
What does the
all-
sign
but-
say in front of your house, Sean?
It doesn't matter what it
It
says.
says no black bags.
But I have been black bags.
What's out there an hour after
I
bulk
have clear
trash
bags in
leaves?
my house.
Black bags. With
Yeah, I do.
no nothing.
No, you
And then
don't
we
hear.
take it
It's working on me,
and we
so-
bring it to the shed and we store it there until we can get a truck to haul it out. And then what happens, the person who puts the black bag out at midnight, because nobody's watching them, says, this is awesome. Because every single time I have a black bag, maintenance and management has to take it away. So I've got a free way to be able to get rid of my construction garbage. And that's what happens.
What
And
happens?
you know what? It happens all the time. And
When
every
you
single time you reward bad behavior, it happens more and more. And that's why we have a trash problem. Because we started taking away everybody's trash who left it out lazily 2 hours after the guys went through. And when they see it gone, they do it again and again and again. And I see it in the same place in phase 4 because the same person says to take it away. So the same person somewhere over there, because I've gone through it and we can't find out a name on it. So what's going to happen? You reward a bad behavior, they're going to continue to do it until they get caught. And that's what our problem is. People don't take pride and they just stick their trash out there.
And I understand, but as a property manager, I think the responsibility for you, like I say, okay, it's the owners. For you, if a blank garbage bag is like in front of my house, wouldn't you go into my house and ask, is that yours? And give a fine to the owner. So that they get responsibilities. But the problem here, nothing has
We
been
do
done.
that all the
I'm gonna
time.
continue
We
my-
knock on the door right in front of it, and of course it's not theirs. They always say it's not.
One comment.
They're not gonna hold up to it.
And let me tell you, one thing that's very important to understand, and I'm not trying to be combative here, this is Mike's show, okay? But let me tell you what you didn't see in the 5 other companies that you interviewed, and you don't see it in my contract either. I'm responsible for taking away somebody's trash that they leave at the corner. I know we have a maintenance man. I don't have get rid of black bags. Where does it go? Okay? Where does it go? Jay, get rid of it. You know where it goes? We have to take it and hide it, and we have to put it over into the maintenance shed behind there. You know how many black bags accumulate? And then what do I have to do?
Okay, Jay,
I have
can
to
I
pay somebody to get
continue,
rid of it.
One
Can I
comment, one
continue?
comment.
Because I know it's late and everybody has, I got 2 more
Just
questions
set the
and
number
that's it.
straight.
How good of a listener you are?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How
good
good
of a
of a
listener?
listener you are?
I'm good.
Like, for example, I tell you, there's a leak.
Okay.
What will you do?
As a homeowner, if you're calling me up or whatever, I would obviously take that down, put it into a work order and follow up with it.
And check.
Yeah.
You will not say that's not a leak because it doesn't have a stain, right? Okay.
Yeah.
What
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna say it's not a leak if it's,
exactly,
Yes.
looking at somebody here, but anyway, my last question.
sure.
I'm sorry.
Really?
I know
Really?
but what will you bring to Omega Villa that Jay hasn't brought in?
Well, I hope I can bring a different perspective, and as a different individual, I have a different personality, and I hope I can work with the board and the residents to solve a lot of the issues that you're having, and that's what I strive to do, is to identify problems and work on resolving them, because that's what my job is as property manager.
I have a very simple question.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is not personal, it's business. I think the property management needs to change. I think it's been here, a lot of things. I think the trust from the community
Okay.
is in the toilet,
And I'm sorry to hear that.
but it's the
Yeah.
reality, okay? And, I mean, I've talked to Jay, I think he's a nice man, whatever. I haven't had issues to where they had to be addressed, like roofs collapsing, roofs leaking, damage. I haven't had any of that. My interaction with Jay has been minimum. However, some of the interaction that I have had, some pleasant, some not. Okay, I feel that there's a way to speak to people, expecting you to pick up trash. I'm not expecting you to move trash. I'm not expecting you to knock on anybody's door and find out whose the trash is. But I expect you to really manage a maintenance person. Get somebody who is qualified, who is not just riding around, not just pulling a shopping cart, not just here sometime. I walk through this community twice a day. I walk my dog from phase 1 to 4. I see a lot of shit. It's terrible. A lot. And a lot of things need to change, but you're not, the community needs to see that. So I want to know what the focus is on changing that. That's it.
So,
That maintenance person, if you're not here, that person is here 9 to 5. These things have to be handled.
yeah, and I think that, again, what I said is, I want to identify the issues and how I would start out with this maintenance person or a new person if we're bringing them on, is to meet with them once a week, beginning of the week, to start out and say, hey, what's the plan for the week?
Once
What-
a week is not enough.
Well,
Initially.
at the beginning of the week, to set a plan,
Right,
then follow up each time I come in on that plan.
right.
That's would be my plan to deal with
I
that.
think something I would recommend is that any board member that wants to do a walkthrough with you, so we can compose a list of items.
Of all the
And
issues
then the
that
board
they're
needs to
worried about.
prioritize them for you and for the maintenance person.
Okay.
Because to me, with all the construction that's going on, a lot of it has to do with groundskeeping. Because, you know, the fences are being replaced, the stucco, this, obviously, the clubhouse, the pool area, the bathrooms and so forth, but groundskeeping to me is the thing that just screams out. It's proper groundskeeping. So, but I think it would be best if, you know, board members walk and make a list and point things out and say, you know,
I have no problem.
and then bring it to a meeting, the board discusses, here's everything we found, let's prioritize. What do we want to do?
I have a quick question. Has there been any oversight with Oscar's people in the construction process? Because I know there's people complaining about different issues with the fences.
Sean, I'm not a project manager. I'm not responsible for oversight
So
of the
who's
construction
gonna fill
people.
that gap there?
I meet with the engineer and I talk with them almost on a daily basis or every other day, asking what are some of the things that need to be done. I know our former one very well and Larry very well. I even talk to Farouk a lot on the phone. So don't misunderstand property management for project management. I'm not
Well, there's a gap there.
overseeing construction because I'm not an expert at construction and telling them why are you doing that or why are you doing this. That's for the engineer. I meet with the group all the time. I get the schedule and we talk with the engineer.
Well, the unit owners aren't happy and they're not, nobody's going,
Yeah, I'm not a construction expert either, but they were doing very sloppy work that you could see it afar. It's not that you need to be a construction expert. And those are things that I don't think an homeowner has to bring up.
Can we keep going this way, because you guys got your turn to ask questions, can we finish it up over here?
that was my main concern,
I
yes.
understand, but can we finish over here?
Go.
Thank you so much. I like the idea of the checklist. My question was gonna be about the checklist. I wanna, if we can do like a visible checklist and have follow-up, how can we do that so that we have daily follow-up of this has been done for the day, this is everything getting done, so we are at least in a pace where we understand the person who understands their role and responsibility, and we don't have to keep bringing up these maintenance issues or groundkeeping issues.
Yeah, you won't need that once we get a system in place.
How long will it take to get this system in place, more or less?
It's not gonna be done immediately, it's gonna take at least I'll say a month. Yeah.
A month? to
Well, to get it going correctly, it'll happen immediately, but by the time you get someone understanding and make sure that we get all the kinks out of it. It's gonna take a little bit, but yeah.
So 1 month we'll have a checklist, the person will know.
No, you already have a checklist.
But the person will know what to do automatically, it won't be like, it won't be something you need to consistently stay on.
Correct, you should, yeah. you should
Great.
know it.
Next question for whoever else has questions.
Just to I'll go back on the checklist, that checklist is something the board should review, make sure we're all on the same point.
Got it.
So there should be
Okay.
daily, weekly, bi-monthly, monthly tasks. Like the biggest thing is gutter cleaning.
Okay.
That's
so-
101.
So that's what's
Doesn't matter.
identified,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
You know, we shouldn't have to be able to say, don't get gutter cleaning, now we're having roof issues because of gutter cleaning. So I just,
Yeah.
you know,
So I'm not sure if the maintenance guy cleans the condensate lines for the air conditioning. This-
no, those are all units.
That's all.
Those are individual.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing is the AC
In here, okay, so yeah, that would be on his task list too. So we gotta pull together a list, and I have plenty of those that I utilize. On what they are, and just have, identify the important things here that need to be on those, and whether they're weekly, daily, bi-weekly, whatever, yeah.
I have no questions, everybody's.
For me, I have a concern about the 10 hours.
Okay.
I feel that more will be needed here. Personally, my interaction with Jay has been positive. I don't have a personal axe to grind, even though people told me I should, based on what happened to my home. For me, responsibility and response times are very important. An emergency, if an emergency happens to me, if you're employed by us and you see something, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you respond. And you get to the homeowner, well, I'll be there 6 or 7. I want an answer. I would like to see your job description because I want to know what you do. I can't give you feedback on what you're not doing if I don't see your job description. All right? Again, this is a property, I've lived here 36 years. All right, I've seen many management companies. For me, I like Jay. Jay's a nice man. But however, the guy that he had riding around in the car, who rolled past a couple of sacks of trash, he had a, what do you call it, little picker-uppers? He rode right past it. And I said, oh, we know fine. Okay? That's why I want to know whether you're going to get out, walk the property, and eyeball the property.
Yeah. Those issues are easy to fix. It
So
sounds like.
I'll hold you
And
to
I'm
that. I'll hold you to that.
Okay, and I'm happy that these are the biggest concerns.
Yeah.
Because those should not be. With the 10-hour thing, again, I'm gonna repeat what Jay had said, this is a portfolio, and unfortunately, you know, as a portfolio, it's not a full-time thing, so I know you say you don't like the 10 hours, but unfortunately, if the community doesn't pay for a full-time manager here, you know, 40 hours a week, they're not gonna get 40 hours, they're gonna get that portion of time, that portfolio. Now,
Women,
Are we voting?
now,
I will also
I'm
tell you.
not finished, I got another question. People ask their questions, I've got another question. In an emergency, would your 10 hours be flexible enough to maybe add 2 more? Because emergencies do occur.
Yeah, when emergencies happen,
I'm
those
gonna-
are above,
I'm gonna
yeah,
let- I'm
that's
gonna
above
let
and
you know,
beyond.
And everybody
Yeah.
know what I told them, that Mike will be dedicated to your property. I will not stop sending, okay, so Edwin, I send out here usually once a week. Okay, I'm not gonna stop that. I'm not gonna stop coming out. I'll be driving through the community. I'll have some issues that need to be, you know, if I need to grab a check from, you know, Judah Eskew and bring it over. I get an application from, for Blair. I put it in our laundry room for her. I'm not gonna shortchange you. If there's something that I can do and drive over, I don't need to take the lead, but I can definitely continue to do things that give you extra hours so that we can get stuff done.
Okay.
So are we voting on anything tonight, or this is? guess we're done.